Good morning. My name is John Brayford. I'm the CEO of Rak Airways. I've been working alongside Optiontown from a customer perspective for the last couple of years. And so when we changed our reservation system in the summer and were able to start looking at partnerships, which of course we've already announced our partnership with Etihad, it became logical from my perspective for us to look at introducing the Optiontown products to build our ancillary revenue. So now that we've been able to get over the hurdle of all the post-cutover issues for our reservation system and start work on Optiontown, we're now in the process of going to contract, initially to start off with the business class upgrade product, and secondly the empty seat option, which I think is an extremely innovative product, and in fact was not part of the portfolio of products the last time I was instrumental in signing up with Optiontown, which is when I was with Rak in Nigeria a couple of years ago.
Well, thank you, John, for your continued support and appreciation of what we bring to the aviation industry. We're very excited. Rak Airways is a growing carrier, and this is the first carrier partner in Middle East region.
Yep.
And again, that opens up a new region for us. Although many of our airline partners do fly to Middle East, so there are quite a few Middle Eastern customers who are buying our options. But we're looking forward to partnering with Rak Airways, located in the Middle East.
Yep.
With Dubai and UAE being the hub of a lot of activities, a very growing area, and especially the empty seat option, I think fits very, very nicely in terms of cultural.
Yes.
Where people would like to have a lot more space to themselves, especially when they're traveling with kids or families, or when they have a lot of business travel on short flights, so people want to talk and have some,
Yeah. Well, I think also for us is the issue is about if you're going to offer something, you've got to offer it in a consistent manner, and the problem is that we've experimented with upgrades on departure. We make a policy for our ground service handling companies to try and provide families with space, to give people a bit of separation when they're travelling in groups and so on and so forth. And by and large they manage to do it, but it's not consistent. And of course it's measured not just by the success but also by the complaints that you find come through when people say, well, there were several empty seats on the aircraft, and why were none of them allocated around where I was, and that sort of thing. And the same thing with the upgrade, that people regular flyers tend to then expect it to happen. And of course it can't happen on every occasion. And this way then the uncertainty of it disappears, because confirmation is given one way or the other in time for all the booking activities to happen, so the person is a genuine Rak Premier or business class passenger when they turn up, which is something which is not necessarily always going to be the case when they do the option, an upgrade option, for example, at the airport. So it offers a greater degree of integrity for the product. It takes away all the uncertainty from the passenger's perspective. It takes away a significant amount of the process from the airline, and we can concentrate on delivering service rather than messing around with people's options at the airport when there's such a limited amount of time and resource.
No, I agree with you, John. I think there are 3 or 4 very key important points in offering this. One of them is, as John said, it should be consistent, able to offer to each and every customer based on when he wants to have a service like that. And we're able to deliver that, as we've done that across dozens of our airline partners, whereby we're able to develop a service which is consistent with the business rules that the airline would like to have. Of course, they could be different for different flights or routes or networks. And yes, the customer gets to know maturely. Again, that's controlled by business rules.
Yep.
And thereby, it's a very clear thing to the customer that, yes, it's not guaranteed, he may not get it, but he would know whether he's going to get it. He doesn't have to do the work to know. Once he's registered for an option after buying a ticket, it's very simple. If he doesn't get it, he gets his money back, so he's not actually losing much on it. And if he gets it, it's a consistent experience. Your bags, the in-flight, the check-in, everything happens. And as you're right, when he will arrive and check in, he will be like a genuine business class passenger.
Yes.
And similarly for the empty seat, we have algorithms that will actually look at the entire seat map and look at what's the total load, how many people have registered, and try to optimize the best way so that majority of the people can be awarded the empty seats, taking best advantage of the availability in the economy cabin. And also, and another element is we also try and rotate the strike, as they call it. So we try to offer it to as many people as we can, and so everybody gets a chance to taste enhanced better service. So it's a consistent, and yet it's simple for the customer to participate. It must not be complex, and it's very simple. In fact, we have a 10-second goal on our product purchase experience, that within 10 seconds a customer should be able to understand what the service is, what the price is, and be able to be confident enough to say, okay, either I want it or I don't want it. So we want to keep it simple.
It's a sort of victory from the jaw of defeat, really, isn't it? Because it on the one hand, it recognises the fact that the airlines failed to sell the seat, but on the other hand, it satisfies the customer's need for a bit more space, and the airline, or in this case, we would gain some revenue which we would otherwise not get. So obviously, in the first instance, it's our objective to sell as many seats on the aircraft as possible. But that we know is not always possible, either by day of the week or by season of the year or route. Any combination, we will not sell every seat. So to get some revenue for the empty seats and give a bit more comfort to passengers who are prepared to pay a little bit more but who can't move necessarily out of the economy cabin is a win-win situation for all of us. I think it's fantastic.
Oh, I agree. And even the best airlines in the world who get to 80-85% load factors is considered like the really the top-notch load factors year-round wise. But that still means 15-20% empty loads. And that means every fifth plane actually flies empty. And you don't recognize that, but and I think an airline, if it gets to 90% load, there's a problem. They got to up there because of an operational service recovery, regular operations. You got to have certain number of empty seats for the efficient operation. So I think it's a necessary part that airlines will continue to have empty seats. But until now, there was no use for it. In fact, and now there's a simple yet comprehensive, consistent, and pertaining to each individual need. So, for example, if you have a 2-passenger booking and you have a 3x3 seating, you have a choice. You can either get one empty seat for the two of you to have you want to talk, or if both of you want a little bit more space, you can get 2 full rows of empty seats. So each person gets 2 empty seats next to him. So essentially, that's the choice we let the customer make based on the amount of money he wants to spend and the purpose. If you want to have a private chat, maybe you just want 1 empty seat. But if you have 2 kids with you or 2 infants each, maybe you want to have 2 rows or whatever. Let the customer decide and accordingly choose, and you can set your preferences. And I think this is giving the control back to the customer, but in a collaborative way. So, you don't want one thing too much in one's favor or the other's favor, but you want something that's collaborative and enhancing value for both, which is what we're looking to achieve.
Great. Yeah.
So we're very excited. So any questions?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch. You said it goes live when? This goes live
Oh, it'll be, it will be about the 1st of January, I think, by the time we've sorted everything out. Yeah.
What, you mentioned that you migrated RES systems from what to what?
Well, we migrated from a standalone low-cost system, Accelero, which is the Air Arabia system, to CETA in July. So it means that now we've got a system that communicates properly with system-based information rather than bespoke information, which, you know, the Accelero system was superb from the point of view of its user-friendliness, but unfortunately it stood on its own. So we wouldn't have been able to set up this system as easily as we can now do with CETA.
Was it the Etihad partnership that was sort of the impetus to?
Well, it was. I mean,
or just knowing that
it was partnerships per se, but it was also widening our distribution. And once we'd made that decision, we knew that part of our growth strategy would be partnerships. And so, as you know, conversations tend to happen that a few months later turn into more than conversations. And the conversation took place with Etihad around about the same time that the decision was being made. We knew that it was going to be a prerequisite anyway. But to be perfectly honest, we weren't, the conversation that took place at the beginning was not one which said, hey, we've got this brilliant idea, let's fly to Abu Dhabi. You know, it evolved from that, and the co-chair came from it. Yeah.
And I would like to just add there, in Optiontown, we've integrated with many, many airline different host system providers, and CETA being one of them. So we have ample experience in handling, like Air India is one of the airline partners already using CETA.
Which are some of the other systems that which are some of the other RES systems that
Well, we worked with, in the past with Malaysia Airlines, was using CETA. We've used with Amadeus. We got Sabre, Mercator,
yeah.
Navitaire, Radix, almost,
Yeah.
almost all of them. So for us, it's normally a less than a few weeks process from the day we get the go-ahead. I'm sorry, from the day we get the go-ahead from the management to say let's launch that. And I think just to put the number on the record, I think the fastest launch was in 21 days. From the day we met with the first person in the airline and the day we actually launched it.
See, for us, we launched Rak Premier, which is our business class product, only in the early part of the summer in June. And because we're a small carrier, although we've got 10 destinations, the frequency on a number of those destinations is very light. So it's difficult to attract large numbers of business-orientated customers who would tend to be the ones that would travel in the premium cabin. Now, our growth strategy over next year will be to increase the frequency on that core 10-route network quite significantly, so that we will double our number of flights between now and winter next year, and about 75% of that increase in flights will be on the existing network in terms of frequency. And so we can start to seriously look at business trips, day trips, overnight trips, the sorts of business that a business traveller would do. But I don't have any expectations of full business class cabins for another 2 years. And so this opportunity with Optiontown enables us, first of all, to maximise the incremental revenue that we can get with people who are interested in an upgrade, which would be very good value for money, I believe. And then secondarily, over that 2-year period, it proves our business case for the business class product. And I'm hoping to expand the cabins on the aircraft at that stage. Yeah.
And I would like to add one more thing. I think we've also seen with our services is that there are almost 17 to 24% of the customers who are using our products are choosing the carrier primarily to use our products. So that would also mean we would help to contribute, bring more customers to the new services and new flights, which is another meaningful contribution to
absolutely, I agree with you.
Attracting. And I would like to quote one thing here is that because the service is very consistent and with the customer, for the customer, kind of by the customer, on our Facebook, we do all these testimonials and do campaigns for people who have experienced and to share their experience. And then we got this request coming from different customers, hey, we've used your service once or twice, we never got it. But we have feelings we would like to express. Would you be kind enough to run a campaign for those people who have not gotten it? And it was so beautiful. We ran the campaign, and people shared, and there was no disappointment. It was just that, as you said, oh, we didn't win, but hey, we didn't lose anything either. And we hope to win because we know our friend won, and this guy I know who won, and so it inculcates a new degree of engagement. If you go to our Facebook, you'll find people writing poems. How often you would see an airline customer engaging that much with their airline, where he's thinking about it long after he pressed the confirm button to buy the ticket. People tend to forget and only get to think about their travel when it comes next few days. But here are people thinking and talking to people, so that's spreading the news, spreading the words, and that's engaging. I mean, that's why Facebook is so popular, because people can engage. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Lovely.
Pleasure. Thank you, John.
Right.
Thank you.